Hello everyone, I hope you're all well. This is the Obsesstuvian 95 and welcome to my review of the second Doctor and electronic TARDIS from the Abominable Snowmen as based on the 1967 story of the same name. This is a Character Options Online exclusive following on from the success of last year's The Jungles of Mechanus, which featured two Daleks, which featured in the background of the 1965 William Hartnell story The Chase. This set is a very big one as it features new sculpts for the second Doctor action figure as well as a brand new tooling for a TARDIS. The TARDIS in this set, as you may have guessed by the title, is also electronic, which is a first for the Character Options line of Doctor Who action figures in about 10 years. Before we get started, if you're new to the channel, then you're very welcome to subscribe, as I have done loads of Doctor Who videos and there is a lot more yet to come, so stay tuned. And for now, let's take a look at the packaging for this set. Packaging wise, this is quite a huge box in comparison to the B&M figures that have come out in recent years. Inside the packaging we have a clear display of the figures that are represented here. We have the second Doctor and TARDIS just in there, and we also have a backdrop of the Himalayas, or Wales if you want to be technical. What I really love about this, and a few others have commented on this, is the fact that the TARDIS is displayed inside this box slightly slanted. Now, at first glance you may be thinking, well, isn't that a little bit weird? But the reason why this is the case is because Character Options wanted to give the little hint that the TARDIS is sort of sitting on a hilltop, as it would have been like this in the actual story when it was filmed back in 1967. I've got to say that this is a really nice piece of detail, and it's really good for all of those who want to collect this set but just display it inside the box. I think it is a really cool move by Character Options, and they really didn't have to do it. Other features of this box include the Jodie Whittaker era logo that has been featured on merchandise for the past couple of years now. We have a gold sticker at the top stating that this is a Character Online exclusive. It tells you very clearly at the bottom what this box includes, and it even tells you that the TARDIS in this set is indeed electronic. Going at the sides, you have a clear display of the figures through the window box as well. You can even have a little bit of a look from the top as well. At the back you've got a description of the Abominable Snowmen as well as the two figures inside the set, including details about the TARDIS prop as well as the second Doctor's fur coat. I've got to say the amount of detail that has been put into the description at the back is absolutely amazing. Again, credit goes to Character Options for going to all the efforts of doing this. At the bottom there's just a little bit of information about the battery compartment inside the TARDIS. I've just opened the box and I wasn't aware that it even comes with an instruction booklet. Inside here you have instructions about the TARDIS, how the doors open, and how you insert and, I guess, remove the batteries from the battery compartment. I won't go into too much detail about this, but I think it's really good that Character decided to include this with this set. Here's a closer look at the backdrop with the figures taking centre stage. Again, really like the fact that the TARDIS is slightly slanted just at the base there. Taking a more in-depth look at the backdrop inside, you can see that there's been quite a few Easter eggs that have been scattered around the backdrop of the Himalayas. For instance, we have a Yeti who is just lurking in the background, ready to cause terror for the Doctor, Jamie and Victoria. And behind this bit of plastic here, you may be able to notice that there is a Raston Warrior robot. Why there is one there, I've no idea, but I guess it might be something to do with the fact that a similar location was used for the filming of the Five Doctors. And interestingly enough, the second Doctor did wear his fur coat in that, and a Yeti did make a cameo appearance in that 20th anniversary story. Overall, this is one of the best backdrops that's ever been used for an action figure set by Character Options. The only downside is this bit of plastic here, and I'm afraid to tear it off in case it rips the cardboard. Here he is! Finally, we have a second Doctor with fur coat action figure. This is a figure that has been requested by many fans of the second Doctor for years. I cannot fathom the amount of times that people have requested that we get this version of the second Doctor from Character Options. But finally, in 2021, here we are. After this figure was deemed impossible to make after a leak that came out many years ago. But here we are, we have this version of the second Doctor with fur coat. The fur coat is a brand new sculpt, never used before on a Doctor Who action figure. So that is why this set cost about £40. To be honest with you, totally understandable, and to be honest with you, is worth it because this is an absolutely brilliant figure. Now, I'm going to start off with the articulation because looking at the base of this figure, a normal Troughton figure was used for the figure and the fur coat was put on top of the figure. So your articulation, your head, it can move from side to side. To be honest with you, the Troughton figures, the heads didn't really move that much at all, but I'm fine with this. If we look at the swivel joints, we have joints in the shoulders. The biceps can move slightly, but are hindered by the coat. And the elbows can move up and down. You can see just under here, you have the wrists. They are able to move, but are hindered by the size of the coat. So I'm not going to attempt that for this video, but they are possible to move. There's also joints underneath in the legs, your knees, but they can't move as much as normal due to the nature of the fur coat. There's also joints in the waist and the upper leg parts, and that is how it is on normal Troughton figures. So looking at the detail of the figure, as I said before, this is a highly anticipated figure. When this got announced just over a week ago, or leaked over a week ago if you want to be technical about it, let's not beat around the bush here. Yeah, I just instantly got hyped for this. As soon as it came up for pre-order, I ordered this, and now having it in hand, I can safely say that this might be my favourite second Doctor figure that has ever been released by Character Options so far. The detailing on the fur coat is just impeccable. The different shades of brown that have been used on here to give it that worn look, it is so good. They've even sculpted little things like the rope to keep it all together. You can just see part of the rope just there. It is disguised a little bit due to the paint applications, but if you look really closely and scrutinise this figure, if you have it in your hand, then you can notice little things like this, and honestly it looks so good. You've got little patches of darker brown and lighter brown over here as well. The texturing of this as well has been done really well. The different shades of brown and different washes, it goes all the way around the coat, and you've got it even on pieces like the hood, even at the lapels here as well. If you take a closer look underneath, as I said before, it is just the normal second Doctor underneath, although I wouldn't recommend trying to remove the coat because you will completely damage the figure. But if you want to have a go, then go for it, but I wouldn't try it. Looking at the head sculpt, it is an impeccable likeness to Patrick Troughton. I think that the paint applications on this are vastly improved to the other recent Troughton figure that we got, which was based on the War Games, which also came with a TARDIS. If we just look underneath there, you can see the top of his shirt. He's wearing what seems to be a light blue shirt, which is much akin to the Three Doctors version of the figure that came out in the 11 Doctors set, as well as a Toys R Us set in 2013. And we also have the bow tie. Don't know if the camera's doing this any justice, but the bow tie is painted black, and you have little tiny white polka dots on there, which is a very nice bit of detail. If we look lower down here, he's wearing once again his checkered trousers. They've been done slightly different this time, with a grey and black pattern running all the way up, and I guess if you can look up there, it goes all the way up the trousers. And the shoes have also been modified slightly. This time they have just been painted in a plain brown, and looking at the soles, they have been painted white. Inside the fur coat, it has just been painted brown completely all the way around, which I think is a really nice touch. And you can just see there how the coat attaches itself there with the two pieces, and then we just have a look at the front. You can see that this comes all around here and it connects around here. If you haven't guessed by now, I absolutely love this figure, and this figure alone is worth getting the set, as well as the other reasons. But before we do that, let's, for fun, take a little look at how this compares to other Second Doctor figures that have been released by Character Options through the years. So here you can see other Second Doctor figures that I have displayed in my figure collection, and they all look rather similar. This is the first notable big change in variation for a Second Doctor figure, and I'm absolutely delighted to have this on the shelf. It is the most different one yet, and I think it is the most appealing to the eye, as it's just so different compared to the others. Just to reaffirm, I think because of that fact, this is my favourite Second Doctor figure that has been released by Character. For those of you asking if the Second Doctor can also hold his recorder, then the answer is yes, he can just about hold it, but compared to other Second Doctor figures, it is a little bit harder to hold due to the nature of the arms of the fur coat, because as I said earlier, the arms make it a little bit harder for you to move the wrists about. But if you're really careful, you can just about pull it off, like I have here for all of you on camera. The other reason to get this set is this TARDIS. Now there's a few differences with this TARDIS. The big thing is the fact that this is an electronic TARDIS, and this is the first time that we've had this since the release of the 4th, 7th and 1st Doctor TARDISes, which came out in around 2010. So it's been over 10 years since we've had an electronic TARDIS be released by Character Options. We've had TARDISes be released since, but they have not had battery compartments and lights and sound effects. So I'm really pleased to see that Character Options have implemented this feature for this special set. And for those who missed out on those classic TARDISes that came out in 2010, then this is of course the perfect opportunity to get the set. Although as of time of recording, the set has now sold out. It was limited to only 4,000 units. The other notable thing about this TARDIS though is the doors have got a brand new sculpt. Now you may be thinking, what? Why have they got a brand new sculpt? Couldn't they have just used the same sculpt as used before? Well, yes, they could have done, but this TARDIS is different due to the fact that the door sign is on the wrong side. The reason being, around season 5 of Doctor Who, the doors were swapped around. I think just inadvertently, the production didn't realise this until later on. They were later swapped back to the correct side for season 6 onwards, and it's stopped the same ever since. But in season 5, in stories like the Abominable Snowmen, which this set is based off, the door sign was on the wrong side. So character options have decided to go above and beyond by recreating how the prop looked for this very story. It's something they really did not need to do. They could have just used the same sculpt and I would have just been happy with that. I would have just called it a day there. But no, character options did it. They went to all the efforts of making a new sculpt for the doors just so you could have this side having the sign instead of that side. Just impeccable, really. And to be honest with you, it's something different because we're always used to having the sign on this side as opposed to that side. So again, that's another reason why this TARDIS is a really significant TARDIS. And to be honest with you, this is one of my favourite TARDISes that has ever been released by Character Options. Whether or not you have the electronic sound effects on it or not, it doesn't really matter because this looks really nice. Just the paint applications that have been done on this and the slight hint of white in there just to give the impression that the prop is a little bit battered at this stage, because by season 5 the same prop was used over and over again. It was being used in a couple of hundred episodes by this stage, and you could really tell that it was starting to get a little bit tatty. Little things like the police sign at the top as well, you can see is really worn. You can only just make out it just says Police Public Call Box. Really good piece of detail there. And one thing I really like is even the door sign looks a little bit worn. If we just take a closer look, you can see just around the edges of the door sign it is fading into black a little bit, but around the centre it is white, just so you can make out what it says on the door sign. Little things like the locks on the doors as well, they have been completely resculpted just for this TARDIS, and usually you have a handle. There's no handle on these TARDIS doors. Again, a notable difference for the TARDIS. And we just take a look around, you can just see just the amount of attention that has been put into this. You've got little bits of paint all around and just shining it in the light. Again, I really love how they've done this, just to give it that wood grain texture. Here at the back you've got the sound, and actually this time we're getting sound out of the TARDIS. I've complained in the past about how it looked a bit untidy on the B&M ones, but this one, it finally has a purpose. There is your battery compartment, so you can put your AAA batteries inside there. And yeah, this is a really good TARDIS, and I'll just show you the lamp at the top. So I'll just move the camera slightly. You can see the lamp at the top is the same sculpt of lamp that was used on the War Games version of the TARDIS, which was released at the back end of 2020. If you're not familiar with that, then check out my review of the Second Doctor and TARDIS as based on the War Games. You can just see though, this time we have the inclusion of an LED light, due to the fact that this has electronic light and sound effects. So, everyone, are you ready? I'm finally now going to demonstrate the capabilities of what this TARDIS can do. On and off switch just at the bottom here. I'll just turn it on. As demonstrated here, the light and sound effects are very clear to listen to. I think that the sound chip that has been used for this TARDIS has been vastly improved compared to the previous ones that were used over a decade ago. You can also see things like the light emitter at the top. It's very clear to see it is a nice orange and it looks really nice, especially at night time. How cool is that? So, if you haven't guessed already, I absolutely adore this TARDIS. Top marks to character options for this. And that is the second Doctor and electronic TARDIS from the Abominable Snowmen. This set absolutely lives up to its name, as you have a second Doctor figure which is just amazing. It is everything I've wanted ever since that leak came out many years ago. The icing on the cake for this set is the TARDIS. Not only is the detailing on the TARDIS impeccable, but also the light and sound effects are very strong. This online exclusive from Character Options has without doubt been a masterpiece. One can only wonder what Character Options do have up their sleeves for the next online exclusive that they do. Due to the fact that this set is now sold out, I do think that we will be getting something potentially even better than this. But for now, all I can say is thank you to Character Options for making this set a reality. It is just so amazing. Cannot get enough of it. I can't wait to see what they do next. Thank you so much for watching this review, guys. It really means a lot to me. Please like, comment and subscribe, as that really helps me out. And stay tuned for more Doctor Who action figure reviews on the Obsesstuvian 95. Take care, guys. See you next time.